family in Salada Beach.
Except for the baby. I'm here.
Is that something you can get, Helen? Can you get the picture? Do you want to hold that up and see if Helen can see that picture of the whole family in Salada Beach? And
Quite a family.
Which one was you?
I'm the little one on the chair there next to right here.
This little one. Okay. How many of there were you?
There were 7 children at the time.
7
The youngest
children.
hadn't been born yet. He was coming along
And
about
another
5
one to
years
come.
later.
And where in Salada Beach did you live?
I lived on the Fay estate, which was later called Comerford. Her maiden name was Comerford, and we were there several years raising artichokes and beans and peas and sprouts and Brussels sprouts and even our own hay, which we baled every year.
Did you have to help with that? The hay baling?
Oh, well, I was too small. We just play around and get full of dust. And
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
Right in Sharp Park.
Well, at the time it was Salada Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I remember it, Salada Beach. And we lived in the old house that was near the mansion, about a block from the mansion that Fays lived in, and only running water in the kitchen, that's all. No indoor facilities.
No indoor facilities, except for running
My
water.
mom cooked on a wooden coal stove, a wood stove, really.
Uh-huh.
And she had a lot of work with all her children. She had a lot of children, you know.
And you continued to live there?
Well, after we moved from there, when I was 8 years old, my sister Rose, the oldest in the family, she continued living there for several years, and we'd come down on vacations to visit her. And they ran the place after that, after we were gone.
So, for vacations, weekends or?
Regular school
summer
vacations.
school vacations?
Yeah, and many a weekend we came down the old curvy road that they used to call the Hog Ranch Road on the coast. And on foggy nights, we nearly died of, we were so scared, you know, afraid we'd go down the cliffs and that we couldn't see the road. There were no dividing lines at the time, just a narrow road. Barely fit 2 cars, you know.
And when would that have been?
When was that? About 50 years ago or more. Oh, more than that. Used to come down with my brother and visit the place. In fact, I took a picture of the Sanchez adobe February 22, 1928, which is 60 years ago.
And what was going on here then?
At the time, nothing.
Nothing.
Later on, my sister's brother-in-law lived here. His name was Tato Rovai, R-O-V-A-I, and he lived there for several years and used it as an artichoke packing shed.
And did he grow artichokes here on the field
Yes,
as well?
yes.
Throughout the valley?
Yes. And as far as the ranch over here, which we call Rancho Grande, right across the highway over here, it is now the Shamrock Ranch. My sister lived there for many years also.
Now, was that after she left Salada Beach?
Yes. Many years after that.
And that was Rose?
Rose.
And did she farm down here then also?
Yes, they farmed. They raised artichokes mostly, and along with other produce like peas and beans and potatoes and.
Potatoes?
Yeah.
Here in the valley? What happened to the produce that you raised?
Oh, there was a truck that came down weekly, I think, from the city and picked up the produce and then took it back to the wholesale produce market down near the ferry building down there where the old produce district was, which is now the Golden Gate, I think they call it
Center.
Golden Gate Development.
And that's where the produce market was then?
That's where they sold it, yes. And
so you didn't have to take it into the city then?
I don't believe they ever had to. If they did, they used the horse and wagon to do so, but that wasn't very often. And I can still remember those strong young men throwing those ropes over the boxes and crates that they had on the trucks, and then going around the truck and tying it under the hooks that they had under the floorboards so that the boxes would stay in place.
Probably showing off a little bit to the children.
Probably. Yeah.
And that was just once a week then that they came and
as far as I recall, it was once a week.
And your father was the
rancher, and
rancher.
we took care of, sometimes we packed the artichokes ourselves, and there was a certain way of packing them and certain sizes that you packed in each box. Excuse me. They'd call them number ones, number twos, number threes, and so forth, according to size. I don't think they do that anymore. Do they?
I think they probably do. Still do them according to size.
And I remember those great big ones were called the number ones. They were big, beautiful. It's nothing like eating a fresh artichoke from the plants.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And
how did your family then eat lots of artichokes?
Oh, plenty.
How did they prepare them? How did your mother prepare
There were
them?
dozens of ways to prepare them. We did not boil them, believe me.
Ah, what did you do?
We either put them in the oven, special way, or she stuffed them, or fried them.
Fried.
And, after cleaning them and chopping them into small pieces. And then a very delicious way, which I do all the time, is making an omelet, or frittata as we called it, out of after you fry them. Beating up a lot of eggs and then just pouring it in there. And
is that the artichoke heart?
mostly the heart, yes. But the tender part of the leaves, you can use those.
Cut those right up as well.
Yes.
Huh, maybe we'll have a cooking class and have you come teach us how to do artichoke frittatas here at the Adobe. That would be kind of fun. That would have to do with Adobe history as well.
And having been born up in the valley, it's like coming home again here.
Now, you were born in this valley, not up at Salada Beach.
Not at Salada Beach, no. We moved there, I imagine, when I was about 5 or 6 years old. See, my mom and family had to escape all the damage in San Francisco after the 1906 earthquake. I wasn't around then. But she had 4 small children to take care of. And it took them a couple of days to get down here, I think, by wagon which was sent in from the my uncle's ranch up in here, up in the valley.
And what was your uncle's name?
His name, oh dear, escapes me.
Well, when you remember it, we'll find out. Where was that? Compared to what's here now, was it at the end of this valley or up around the corner?
Towards the end of the valley. And there were no homes here. Nothing except the Sanchez adobe.
I would have liked to see it then.
Oh, it was great.
I think it must have been a beautiful, beautiful place.
A lot of ranches, and that's how I best remember it. And when I come down here, it breaks my heart.
To see all the changes.
Yeah.
So you had the run as a small child. You had the run of the valley basically then.
Yes. We'd come up here quite often and visit my mom's sister. And other than that, I don't have too many memories of it because after all, I was pretty small when I lived here. And of course, the old house is gone. I think it burned down.
Now, was that back in the park?
Up near the visitor center. Way up in there.
Up where what we call a Weiler house these days? Would that have been the Weiler Ranch up in the park?
I don't know. That was after my time. But it was up toward the end of the valley. Exactly what little...
was it near the creek?
Somewhere near the creek. I can't exactly say where because I don't remember. But
well, you were pretty young as a child to be let go play in the creek.
And I have a nephew who might remember just where the house was, but I haven't been able to get him down here to show me.
Oh, we'll see what we can do. That would be fun.
Yeah.
To get hold of him.
The house burned down before I was ever able to see it, you know, and I remember picking up, when it was gone, I picked up a great big nail, that long, about ½ inch thick, and I still have that at home. It came out of the very building.
The original house. Do you have any idea how old that house was when you were born there?
No.
But it had been there a long time.
My mom says that the coyote used to come to the door.
Did
So it
you
was
feed them?
Oh, I don't know if you did, because
You didn't
they
want-
were wild animals. I don't know if she got near them at all, you know, because
You're probably a little worried about all the little children.
sure. It's like people who go to Yellowstone or Yosemite Valley and trying to feed the bears. Well, they're crazy, believe me. They don't know that they're wild animals. You know?
Well, let's see. Early in this century, there were still bears in these hills, supposedly.
That's what they say, yes. According to the center up there, it's...
Were you ever aware of anything like that when you were living here?
No, just rabbits. My brothers,
Lots of rabbits.
my brothers went rabbit hunting all the time.
And the coyotes then.
And birds, you know. But aside from that, I don't remember much about the animals.
Did you get taken along on any of those hunting trips? Little sister tagging along?
No.
No. That was for boys to
That
do.
came later years, but not then. It's beautiful. The school, I imagine, I'm just guessing, was over near the, what is now the Shamrock Ranch. Near the highway, on the highway there. And, of course, I wasn't around then, but my brothers and sisters attended it, and they said that they walked from way up in the valley down to the schoolhouse to attend schools. And whenever, in later years, when my sister Rose lived there, when it was called Rancho Grande, the cook would blow his horn way up in the valley somewhere and have the ranchers come to lunch or whatever. And that's how they got them to come to dinner.
The cook had a
horn that he blew. And they heard it.
Not a bell that we think of the old cowboy
No, just a
triangle
horn,
kind of thing.
not a bell. And that's how they got to.
I suspect that without the cars and the airplane noises, you could hear
Sure you could.
from the front of this valley all the way back.
You never heard
practically.
cars going up and down. There weren't any. If there were cars that came along the old highway, it was minutes in between and very rare, you know. It was a different life then.
I suspect that your mother spent a lot of time cooking and cleaning and washing.
That's what she did. She used to wash by hand. She'd come up into the valley here after she had moved to Salada Beach. And she claimed she washed for 35 men.
Oh my.
By hand. She'd pack up her buggy and horse and buggy and take off. I remember one day I wanted to come with her and I was screaming and crying, and she didn't want to take me that day to help pick up the clothes, the dirty laundry.
Oh,
and,
so she made a trip out to collect it all?
Yes. Yes.
And then...
And as far as the socks and handkerchiefs and little things like that, there was no charge for doing those.
Just the shirts and the pants.
And, yeah, the big articles. And her hands got so they were all knuckles. They were all swollen.
From the rubbing.
Yeah.
She
worked
used an
hard.
old washboard?
That's it. She was a washboard.
And did she have to pump the water then?
We had running water in the kitchen, just cold running water, and heated those big pots up on the stove, wood stove. And
how long would she spend? A whole day doing laundry for all those
well,
people?
no, because she had to cook besides that and take care of the kids and.
Was it something like one day a week, or?
And then her vegetable garden, she had to have.
She had her own separate vegetable garden.
And canning or whatever had to be done.
Whenever anything
rugged
was right,
days, rugged
have
days.
to take care of it right then.
Yeah.
No Safeway.
Oh no. No.
As a child, did you help put up vegetables and stuff too?
No. No.
That was just mother?
Just mom and I guess my sisters and whoever else was grown up.
So where are you in this family? So there are 8 children?
Number 6.
You're number 6. Okay. And your sister Rose is older then?
Yeah, she's about 11 years older.
And how long was she here at Rancho Grande?
Oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, maybe more.
Not long.
And then they moved to the Bella Vista Ranch, which is now Pacific Manor, and raised things there. That was their own ranch.
Were they renting down here? Or
I think so. I don't remember exactly what, but I think they were renting. In those days, we weren't curious. We didn't care. It was just our ranch. We came down to the ranch.
That's right.
But
and there was so much space it didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. We just played, and I remember riding horseback here in the valley one time.
Did you come by the house here?
By here, sure. This is the only thing here.
And it was empty.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
We keep hearing about a speakeasy that was here.
Oh yeah, those are the old days. I don't remember that.
Even
My mom
farther
would have remembered that. I think she danced here during those days when they served drinks. And
now, one of the stories we've been told is that the bootleg liquor from Canada was brought here in wagons under artichokes.
could have been. I don't know.
And then distributed from here. You ever heard anything like that?
No. But it could have been. I know that a lot of it was done by boat.
Yes.
That I heard too. I don't know. It was too small then. I don't know.
Not paying attention to those kinds of
No,
things.
it didn't matter then.
You were telling me as we drove in about another mansion and some people that own the ranch, the Shamrock Ranch now. Maybe you could tell us more about that again. And you said their home was across from where the nursing home is now.
Oh, that was the Hermitage. That was the Hermitage.
That's one I haven't ever known anything about.
I remember having dinner there once, but aside from that, it was owned by the Tobin family. And I have learned that since starting my book several years ago. I didn't know that at the time. It burned down.
Yes.
I have an article in my book here on it somewhere.
And you went there for dinner?
One time I did.
It was the restaurant? A hotel?
I don't recall. It must have been. Must have been.
You went as a child for dinner?
Yeah.
With your family?
Yeah. It's been so long I don't even remember who I was with. I think it was a neighbor's family. And I was sorry to think that it burned down after. It probably was
What was it
done
like?
purposely. Who knows?
Do you have any impression of the inside?
No, just the general size of the building, which might have resembled this in a way.
Really big.
Not as big as this,
Not
but
as big as this.
somewhat resembling it. But aside from that, I don't know, not much.
Now, did you ever come down on the train? Was the train
Yes, I did,
still
once. I remember that ride once.
From the city?
Yes. Either from the city or from Salada Beach.
Salada Beach to this valley?
No, to Salada Beach. At the time, we lived in Salada Beach. So I think we took it to the city and then back to Salada Beach. I remember that ride. Yeah, because it's right by the ocean. Scary.
Right. Scary out there over the cliff.
Yeah. My goodness, that was a crazy undertaking, don't you think? Right?
Well, it succeeded for a while.
For a while, and then, of course...
It was very popular for a while.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Did you sit in the cars that were the benches on the flat cars, or were you inside?
I was inside somewhere.
You're inside something.
Yeah.
Because apparently in the beginning they had added flat cars and just put benches on them for people to sit on,
Oh,
which
no.
would have been even more
No,
scary.
I don't remember. Oh, I don't remember that.
You
no.
were definitely inside.
Inside,
the train.
yeah. I remember the station at Salada Beach too. Yeah. Kind of a platform where they'd load and unload things from the train.
Did you ever use the train for produce, or was that always just by wagon?
Just by horse and wagon or the trucks that came down. A lot of memories.
They're nice to have.
Yes.
It would be. I think it would be really interesting to see this valley as it was.
Oh.
Was in terms of the trees? Do you remember there being lots of trees at that point, or
There
was
were
it
lots
more
of
open?
trees. Yes. And I know there's a creek that runs up through the valley.
Right. all the way along.
And
Did you ever get taken fishing on it?
no,
Just the brothers.
if they did, I don't know, but it was really nice then. Really nice. We knew many people. That was our weekly jaunt, you know, to come down and see our friends, relatives.
How many families about were there living in this valley?
Well, I'm only guessing. I imagine about a dozen. I don't know.
And all of them farming?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then lots of farmhands, if your mother was
Yes,
doing laundry.
there were at the time. They needed a lot of help. I don't think they had the machinery that does all that work they do nowadays, you know, and it was all manual labor, mostly. I remember when they'd hitch up those horses and giddy up, you know, it was nice.
Did you do lots of riding in wagons? Did you
think I
mostly
did.
ride in wagons
I think I
from
did,
this
yeah.
valley back to Salada Beach?
From this valley? No, once we were over there, we didn't travel very much. I mean, too much to do, too much work.
And did you have to work too?
I was pretty small.
But when you were 8, then you moved back into San Francisco.
That's right. Yes, my mom had moved down here on account of the earthquake and fire because they were living on Filbert Street in North Beach, and everything was going to burn anyway, so they had to get out of there. And I remember she told us that she had left a candle lit on a chair, you know, and she said
Oh dear.
they never went back to put it out because everything was going to burn anyway, and she left a lot of beautiful things.
That must have been difficult
Yes,
to walk away from probably another important part of her life.
that's right. So they came down here, and country that resembled the old country in Italy, you know.
Oh, tell me about that. How was it the same?
As far as weather goes, and the way they can raise the same crops, and evidently this is what they knew they could do, so it was ideal just to come down here and settle here for a while.
Was your mother originally from Italy?
Yes, she was.
And how did she get to San Francisco?
By boat and train.
As a young girl, or after she was
She was
married, or
about she was about 18.
what? What spirit of adventure moved her to come to San Francisco?
She came along with her sister, who was afterwards living up here in the valley, Mrs. Venturi. That's the name we were trying to think of. Venturi. Venturi. And yeah, she came with her sister, and they settled in North Beach in San Francisco.
And
Shortly after she got married in 1901, my mom started her family.
got busy.
And then
And
the
your
earthquake.
father, then.
Well, that was her first husband. She had 5 children by him. And then I was the first one to come along with her second husband. And there were 2 more after me. 8 of us.
And then he was the farmer here.
My father, yes.
And how did he get to coast of California?
Well, he came from a section of Italy that was right near my mom's. And
Had they known each other before?
I don't think so. I think they met up here in the valley at my mom's sister, I think.
Was he working for the Venturis then?
You're asking me something I don't remember. But always a farmer.
Yeah. But then he went back to the city.
Yes, like I say, when I was 8, we all moved back to the city.
And then what did he do in the city?
He worked for the cannery, which is now the cannery in the very place.
Fish.
No, making boxes, making wooden
boxes.
boxes. He'd come home and tell my mom how many boxes he'd made. And that was his, he died when he was quite young, about 40.
And then your mother went on by herself.
Yes, yes.
And she stayed in San Francisco then?
Yes, we stayed there for many, many years. She died there, in fact.
And you're over in East Bay now?
Yes, in Newark.
But it's hot over there.
Not as hot as one might think. You know, it's worse in Concord where my son lives. Oh, that's the hot spot.
And you don't mind it, having grown up over here on the coast? You don't mind the heat?
I love it here. It's nicer weather.
You like the cool over here?
Yeah, that cool breeze. But
no, they couldn't grow artichokes in Concord.
not very well. They need the fog and cool weather.
Now, you said they grew the beans. Which were those? Those aren't the green beans that we think of as beans. Were those the big broad
the
beans?
long string beans.
The long string beans? Or were they the broad beans?
I don't remember that
the fava
either.
beans.
Oh, we had fava beans too. Yes.
Did they get pickled?
No.
No? What did you do with them?
I steamed them, cooked them with onion, and they're good. I like them. You have to develop a taste for them, I think.
Yeah.
Some people don't like them. Like Brussels sprouts. Ooh, they're not too good, are they?
You still don't have a taste for Brussels sprouts?
No, not too
After
much.
growing them as a child? So you didn't necessarily always eat what you were growing then?
Well, we had to. If my mom cooked it, that was it. They didn't do like nowadays. What do you want to eat, dear?
Yes.
If she cooked it, that was it for the day. You had to eat it or else just go hungry.
Did you have cattle as well, or was this all vegetable farming?
We had a cow,
So you had your own milk?
sometimes a goat. Yes, usually had our own milk. And the other children were older, so they had to learn how to milk the cow.
You didn't get to do that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that would be fun, though.
My sister Rose did. She used to make cheese when she lived on the Bella Vista Ranch and sell it to the neighbors. And my mom made a lot of cheese too.
Did you get to help with that at all ever?
No. I keep seeing a light shining up in the canyon up there.
Oh, I see what you mean. Every once in a while, someone lets loose one of those Mylar balloons.
And you think that's what it is?
And I'll bet you that's what it is. It has that kind of flash. There was one in the park a few years ago, and we were really worried because originally we thought it was a fire possibly.
Oh.
Because we only were seeing the little flickering flash. But I'll bet that's what it is.
This reminds me, my father helped build the fence around the castle in Salada Beach.
The stone fence?
He used to come to the Rockaway Quarry and pick up the concrete, and one of my sisters helped him and with horse and wagon, and they'd take it up to the castle.
And then it was
Made they had, I don't know if he helped
mortared
make
in
the
for the
fence
stone
around
wall?
the castle, and so he had his share in doing that.
This was one of your older sisters.
Yes.
You didn't get to play with that either.
No. I have a lady friend who lived up in the castle for about a year and a half when she was 11.
Did you get to go visit?
I've seen it several times since.
But
And
did you visit as a child?
I don't remember visiting it, no. Just seeing it on the outside. There were some gruesome tales about it at the time,
my,
if you remember.
Like what?
Oh, doctor committing abortions, and I don't know, they talked of murders, and during the war they used it as a station to see foreign aircraft or ships or whatever. I don't know. There were so many tales about it. But it's kind of scary.
Were you hearing these tales as a child or later?
Later years, yeah. Yeah. So when Mr. Massa acquired it, then things started changing, and it's not so bad when you go up there. It's not as big as you thought it was either.
It doesn't look as big from above, does it?
No.
Looks really different from... We've got a noisy morning this morning out here.
Yeah.
Generally, it's quieter. Lots of people busy today.
I'm still carrying this one around my neck. It's kind of...
Were you after birds?
No.
Or what were you after with your binoculars?
Oh, just something. If I see something that I'd like to see close, I'll just use it.
Mm-hmm. Like that, whatever that thing is flashing up there.
Are you beginning to wind down? Do you think that stop?
Beach got changed to Sharp Park because of things happening.
There were many things happening here, and at one time a priest was killed and buried somewhere along the sand dunes where...
In Salada Beach or here?
Salada Beach, somewhere near what is now the Bella Vista Ranch, or what is now Pacific Manor. And as I remember the story, one fellow who was helping to find the priest's body, he said, "Watch out, his head is there." Well, he gave himself away. He was the murderer.
Oh, my.
And
what was the cause of all this? Do you remember?
no, I don't remember the cause.
And the fact of that murder then had something to do with their changing the
Yes,
name
there were so many things yes.
of the school district.
Well,
or
it
of
was
the area from San Pedro.
from Salada Beach to Sharp Park. That's why they changed the name, to sort of forget all the disgrace that had been going on, I guess.
Were there other disgraces in addition to the priest?
Oh, I can't recall at the moment, but I think there were. Like the ones at the castle, things that were going on at the castle. That all helped.
So they thought that if they changed the name, that would change the reputation too?
That's right.
Well,
I regretted the change.
I bet a lot of people did.
I think so.
I kind of like the name Salada Beach. Of course, I don't have those associations.
I often wondered who was Sharp, that they should name it Sharp Park.
Well, wasn't it Honoraria?
I've heard several stories. There were other sharks.
Other sharps also.
So we'll have to double check.
So that, I suppose they were important enough to have their
Do you know
town
where the
called
name Salada came from?
Salada.
Oh, isn't that salt?
No,
No?
Salada. Don't you think it might have been connected with ancient times, like this area here that was owned by the Sanchez's and...
Well, this area was named for the San Pedro Asistencia for the mission outpost back in the 1700s.
I think in old maps, I think you'll find the name Salada. I think it has something to do with that. I'm not certain.
I think it's Laguna Salada is the Salt Lake.
Yes. Well,
Salada Beach then was the beach that went along in the Spanish.
Probably. Maybe you're right.
I think. You know, Helen?
I'll have to look into it. I'm not sure now. I'm getting touchy.
Okay. That's interesting, though, that the name would be changed to avoid the old nasty reputation. It's kind of funny.
That's why they did it, I'm sure.
Salada Beach was chosen by the development plan, I think. But we'll have to look into it.
Okay. Yes.